Hi, my name's Simon. I'm from the sales and support team at Oxford Technical Solutions, and I'm going to be showing you how to set up a dual antenna RT system into a car. Okay, so I'm going to be securing the unit with an RT strut. We recommend placing the strut roughly in the centre of the vehicle. When you're setting it up, make sure you raise this silver lever first, secure it to the ceiling, lock the black lever in place, and then the silver lever, this just pushes the top of the strut up to keep it secure, to stop the RT moving around in rough driving conditions. And do be careful of your fingers when you do this, because it can ping down. Now I'm going to put the brackets onto the unit. I'm just going to be doing these screws up finger tight, but we recommend using an Allen key, or for these particular screws, a flathead screwdriver. Now I've got all the screws in place, just need to mount it on the bracket. So now I'm going to connect up the primary GPS antenna from the unit to the antenna on the roof. Okay, so now I'm going to take the antenna and attach it to the primary antenna connector. So now I'm going to connect the primary GPS antenna to the roof of the vehicle. You need to be able to get up and see the roof properly, and as this is the primary antenna, it goes towards the front of the vehicle. Now this specific antenna doesn't have an inbuilt ground plane, so it needs to be at least 30 centimetres away from any non-metallic surface, such as the windscreen or a vehicle sunroof. So now I'm going to connect up the secondary GPS antenna. Now it's important that these two antennas are exactly the same type and specification and have the same cable length as each other to obtain an accurate heading solution. Now the connectors here, they say primary on the left and secondary on the right. The primary being the antenna at the front, secondary being the one I'm about to connect up at the back. So now I'm going to connect the secondary antenna onto the roof. Now it needs to be in a straight line with the primary antenna, and the cable position needs to exit the antenna from the same direction on both of them. When you're setting up the antennas, then they both need to be pointed in the same direction, and you can tell which direction they're pointed in by the direction that the cable is exiting the antenna. So it doesn't matter which direction they're pointed in, as long as it's both the same way and they're not pointed separately like this. I'm going to be setting up the unit using a laptop via Ethernet connection. So I'm going to connect my Ethernet cable into the front panel of the unit and then feed the cable through to the front where the laptop is on the front seat. So now I'm going to connect the power adapter to the unit. Instead of the standard power adapter, I'm going to be using an RT UPS. Now the UPS is an uninterruptible power supply, so if there is a power break, then this can power the unit on its own for up to 3 minutes, meaning that the unit doesn't reset itself and needs to be reinitialized and reconfigured. So you connect the power adapter into where it says power 9 to 18 volt DC. Now on this occasion I'm going to be using the car's cigarette lighter for power, but you can just as easily use an external 12 volt battery. And in this car, the cigarette lighter is in the front, so I'm going to feed the cable through. So now I'm going to connect my Ethernet cable to my laptop and plug in the power supply into the cigarette lighter. So now you need to have RT config open on your laptop. If you haven't got this, it can be downloaded from the support pages of oxts.com. So the first thing to do is set the orientation of the unit, which is a simple drop down menu, and then we need to measure the offsets from the unit to the primary antenna. So now I'm going to measure these offsets from the unit to the antenna. Now it is handy if you've got someone else to help with you to see the offsets. But you can either enter these offsets as you go into RT-config, or measure them all and write them down and then enter them all at once. So now we need to measure the separation between the primary and the secondary GPS antennas. The first thing to do is to check that they're both in a line along the car roof. Next, you need to measure the separation to an accuracy of 3 millimeters to attain accurate heading lock. Now we recommend that the maximum antenna separation be no more than 2 meters.